Guys, what is up? Welcome to another episode of Maximilian Must Know. Now, this was meant to be a scent safari episode. I was looking through Fragrantica one day and I found this house called RPL, and I looked at their fragrances and they looked really interesting. And so I reached out to RPL and asked them for some samples, and they actually sent me a full bottle of one of their fragrances. So I figured, you know what? I'll just do a full review. And before we get into this one, Eau Riante, let me first give you some house backstory. So this house was established by a gentleman named Rupert Peter Landendinger. And this was a man who grew up in a castle in the Bavarian countryside. And his earliest memories really revolved around ornate rooms and high ceilings and lush gardens with very fragrant flowers, the smells of fruits and vegetables that came from the surrounding forest. And that really opened up a passion of fragrance for this man. At the age of 16, he journeyed to Tunisia, and it was for the first time he experienced the souks and the markets there. And if you've never been to a souk, the spices and the foods cooking and the breads, it's just such an experience for the senses. As an adult, he traveled to places like Casablanca, Marrakesh, Istanbul, and Cairo, and it enhanced his infatuation with fragrance. He became very interested in the perfume history of different eras, the reign of Louis XIV, who became known as the Perfume King. And so he decided eventually to start his own brand, RPL Parfum. And at the time, he'd also spent a lot of time in the fashion world. He was really known as a true connoisseur. For 25 years, he has worked with high-profile international fashion brands. He was the co-founder of a luxury label by Maylene Berger. And so that really helped him, gave him the necessary experience to start this brand. And to make the perfumes for his brand, he called in two heavyweight perfumers, the great, and anyone who's into fragrances knows Pierre Bourdon, of course, and Philippe Beauxton, who has done about as many scents as Bourdon. Now, this line, RPL, does a huge line of products. They do home fragrance, they do body care products, but we're going to talk about one of their scents today. And the one that they sent me is called Eau Riante. Now, as of filming this video, they have 5 different scents that all can be purchased from their site. These, or at least this one, comes in 100 ml bottles, and they go for $160 US. Now I'm going to read you the description of this one by the brand. Enticing and enigmatic, this amazing eau de parfum is a provocative palette of bergamot, lavender, and orange flower, a unisex aroma that is as intimate as it is extroverted, boasting oriental citrus balsamic along with the subtlety of amber and vanilla. Parfumé Philippe Beauxton, family oriental citrus balsamic. Ingredients: top, bergamot and petitgrain, heart, lavender, orange flower, frankincense, powdery, dry down, benzoin, vanilla, and amber. Now, as far as what a presentation will look like from RPL, the box has a sticker with the name of the fragrance. It's Eau de Parfum. You have a little insignia on the top, and it opens, and the fragrance is going to be held in there. And the bottle is very, very heavy, gold atomizer and cap. It has a sticker, RPL Eau Riante. You have a sticker on the bottom, and the atomizer works really well. So I think it's a really elegant presentation, and if you sit this one next to other scents, this one fits in really well. It does look very regal. So before I talk to you about this one, let me just explain why when I reach out to these brands, I like to ask for samples, just because if you get a full bottle and you don't love the scent, it's hard for you to convey anything about the brand to the people that watch the show. Now, thankfully, that's not the case here, because there are things that I really like about this fragrance, and there's some things I don't love. So let's break it down. First of all, this is a very, very clean fragrance. It opens up with a lot of bergamot, and petitgrain, and it sits on top of a heart of lavender. And so this is a very classic profile of a barbershop eau de cologne sort of fragrance. But where this one differs quite a bit is in the base of this fragrance. The base of this fragrance is made up of amber, which you guys know is vanilla and resin. So I would call this a citrusy amber with some lavender and some very powdery qualities. It's fairly simplistic in construction, and I've smelled scents that are like this one. What I think is really good about this one is that there is a simplistic quality that I think is really nice. This is going to appeal to, say, a businessman that wants to wear something upscale and be clean and smell very fresh without smelling too synthetic. What I don't like about this one is I've smelled I think better citrus scents with ambery bases. Xerjoff has an entire collection in their Shooting Stars line that I should point out are a lot more money than this fragrance. This is also a pretty soft scent considering that it's an eau de parfum. It lasted for a good while on my skin, about 6 to 8 hours, but I didn't get a great performance out of this one in terms of projection. You know, I wore this one to the office a few times, and it was tough for people to smell this one. I wanted to see what others thought about this one. Now, with that said, who I let smell this really enjoyed it. They thought it was clean and fresh and sporty, and they thought it smelled really, really natural and really good. Now, I don't rate. I'm not going to give a number rating to anything that anyone sends to me. So I'll tell you what this scent reminds me of, and I'll tell you who it should be or who should pass. It actually reminds me a good deal of some of the fragrances by Maison Francis Kurkdjian, particularly Aqua Universalis Forte. It has that very clean, almost laundry-like quality to it, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in a very crisp way. It's very crisp. It's very white. It would do wonders with a really nice Brioni or Loro Piana or Turnbull and Asser white dress shirt and some dark denim. I think it would do great with that. Who this would work for is someone looking for an upscale eau de cologne that will last longer than, say, a fleeting citrus, and someone who wants that to come off as natural with a bit of a barbershop vibe. I would definitely recommend that fragrance for that person. This is a great scent for a banker or anyone professional. If you like scents that are daring and you like to be challenged and always smell new and exciting things and want to be noticed with your scents, then I would definitely skip this one. At that point, I don't think you will like this one. But what I would say at that point is that this company also does an oud, they also do an amber, and they also do a patchouli. And based off the quality here, I would believe that those will probably be pretty good scents. And if I were you, I would look at getting my nose on those, because what's very, I would say, nice about this house is that the man who owns this house obviously knows what he's doing, and he's making fragrances for the right reasons, and he has the right people making fragrances. These names are names that you trust, especially for me, someone like Pierre Bourdon, who really might be the most accomplished perfumer of all time, certainly up there with the Maurice Roussel and Bertrand Duchaufour and Jean-Claude Ellena. He's certainly up there with them. You know, that he's handling these, that says a lot. And so the house is in good hands, and these are fragrances I definitely think you could feel good taking a look at and ordering some samples or checking this line out. So that is sort of my take on RPL and Orante. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. If not, I'll see you guys next week with more videos. Guys, you know what it is. My name is Maximilian.